Okay, so hi everyone and welcome to how to put on a great webinar, market your brand, generate more leads, and of course, make more sales. Now, let's just move you to the next screen here. If I can. Oh, there we go. So the first question you have to ask yourself when you're putting on a webinar, of course, simple stuff, but what are you going to promote and who are you going to promote it to? Generally, I say generally because there's lots of different ways you can do this. You want to get an entry-level product or service with an affordable price point that could lead up to to more sales, lead to upsells basically. You want to get the trust of the client and show them that you're a solid individual to work with or company to work with by delivering that product promptly and efficiently. So preferably you want to try and use a tried and tested product, one that you know that works, one that you know has appeal, and target it to really a fairly easily definable prospect group. So where do you find your prospects? What are the lead sources are you going to use? And what are the geographics you're going to use? Is it going to be just to people in your state, in the country, in North America, in the world, if you like, wherever? But define that first, because that's very, very important. And how are you going to contact these individuals? Is it going to be with posts on social media, via email, or by phone, or best of all, really, a combination of all those? So you're first off here picking your platform. There are many choices out there. There's, of course, LinkedIn, Zoom, Google, GoToWebinar. You can do Facebook Live. Again, combinations of everything, whatever works for you. Now, for maximum reach, I like a combination of platforms. LinkedIn, so I can promote the event to my 2,900 direct connections, and also I can use the posting capabilities of LinkedIn using Loomly and groups. Now, Loomly is a software app that you can, you never buy it, you rent the thing, I guess, but you pay a monthly fee for it and you can post on multiple social media sites, which is a great idea to combine that with your other marketing that you're using for your webinar. Facebook's great too for posting and for the groups, and Zoom is actually, I think, pretty much essential for the events itself, even though there are other options out there, particularly like Zoom, because it's easy to use. That's always a good thing, right? Now, you want to use your list. I'm hoping that you've already, because you've already got a product or service that does sell, that you have a list of prospects. That's where you're going to start. Now, if you don't have a list of prospects or clients, make one fast. If you don't have one, allow a month before the webinar itself to create one. Various ways of doing that, or you can ask me if I can create one for you. Obviously, if I do that, extra fees apply to my services. Now, lists require a very minimum, absolute minimum, first name and email address. Now, the more information you can get, as you know, the better it is to be able to target your prospects effectively. Now, pick your dates, your times and your dates wisely. This is much overlooked. People slap webinars out there all different times of day, different days of the week, and a lot of them are a waste of time because you're working against yourself. So try and make the time work according to where your clients are, obviously enough. Lunchtimes and late afternoons, for whatever reason, tend to work best and get people's attention the best. If you're marketing to different time zones, obviously make sure that they're at compatible times. For example, 3 p.m. Pacific is 6 p.m. Eastern. That's not bad for either of those markets. Best times of the week usually are late afternoons, Wednesdays and Thursdays. Avoid Mondays and Fridays. Be very careful of holidays as well, because they tend to mess up the whole week. If you have a holiday in a week, that week's basically shot. So you might want to add a week on to your marketing period, make it a week longer. Now, there is one exception to that, which is kind of weird, and I can never quite figure it out, but the time between Christmas and New Year tends to be pretty good for webinars. Always had some success there, but maybe because there's no holidays actually in that time period, and of course most people, or a lot of people, aren't working, so there's less distraction for your attendees. Now, don't underestimate the power of custom flyers to promote the webinar. Most webinars are promoted fairly poorly by very simple messages or overly complicated messages a lot of the time going out through the social media platforms. If you create an effective custom e-flyer, it brings more attention to your offering and can increase attendance quite considerably. You can also attach extra materials to them, like workbooks, for example, registration forms, payment forms, etc. And many are formatted for use with social media. Most of them do require a paid subscription. Again, if you don't want to create one yourself, my back office can do that for you, and obviously extra fees apply for that too. But anyway, I tend to use a combination of Canva, Smore, and Google. Smore is actually my favorite because it has the most capability for being customized. I don't know if you can see that example of a small flyer there on the right hand side of the screen. Now, the next step, of course, is to promote. Now, promote the living daylights out of the event. There's many different, come at them at the audience, basically, or a prospect audience, from as many angles as you can. People respond differently to different contact measures. So you may want to use a combination of emails, calls, even faxes, groups, websites, flyers, etc. So use as many different avenues there as you can to contact the client, and hopefully they'll see them. Now, you want to give incentives a lot of times to encourage attendance. Now, one of the biggest issues with webinars is actual live attendance. Unfortunately, because most sales are made on emotion, if people don't attend live, they're unlikely to buy anything. Now, this can be partly offset by offering them something of value should they attend and stay till the end. Free ebooks, I've found, can work very well indeed if they're relevant to your offer. Free reports and workbooks also work quite well. Just make it clear in your promos that they have to stay till the end of the webinar itself to get them. Most people won't attend and will ask you just for the recording. That way they can get the info and without any kind of buying pressure or commitment at all. So just make it very clear that there won't be a recording and they have to actually attend to get the info. Or another route that many of my fellow promoters use is to charge them for the recording. Now, I mean, not too much, obviously, but they seem to get away with about, 20, 25 bucks a recording if it's something that that is desirable enough, let's say, for the attendee, or potentially not the attendee, the person listens to recordings. Anyway, so let's move on from there. And at this stage, if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them. Let's just check here. No, we're all good. Use the chat screen if you need to. Now, transferring a registration. Now, using LinkedIn and Zoom together should help, or it will help, maximize your registrations. However, there is a snag. Even if you instruct them to register with Zoom after registering with LinkedIn, most people won't. I have no idea why they won't, but they won't do it. So a few days before your event, you'll need to transfer the LinkedIn registrants to Zoom yourself. Fortunately for us, that's pretty simple. All you've got to do is go into the LinkedIn events page and download the registrants to a CSV file and then upload directly into Zoom. Now, once they're in Zoom, they get all these nice little reminders from Zoom, when the event is, and even follow-up ones afterwards as well, presuming, of course, that you've set those up. So that's a useful result from transferring to Zoom, apart from the fact you're doing the webinar actually on that platform itself. Now, next up, presentation tips. Usually you want to use a combination or one or the other of PowerPoint or a talking head. Use them together or separately. PowerPoint is pretty obvious. You customize it with some nice graphics, etc., to get people's interest. A talking head is basically exactly what it sounds like. It's you with a camera on you talking. A combination of the two is nice. Some people, it is personal preference, really. I personally prefer to use a PowerPoint, but I know many people have been very, very successful using the headshot, the talking head, and the PowerPoint as well. But keep your slides simple and use graphics to illustrate whenever possible. A picture is worth 100 words. Now, have notes to elaborate under the screen so that you can add comments, but make sure that the audience can't see them by only screen sharing the actual slide by restricting your screen, which is actually what I'm doing right now. Get on Zoom 15 minutes before the advertise starts to make sure everything is set up and is working as intended. And as soon as you see attendees start to join, start making announcements to keep them engaged. You don't want them sitting there looking at an empty screen. You want to have a screen up and you want to, offer advice on the webinar beforehand, tell them to grab pen and paper, etc., to make a lot of notes. Anything that will help you basically build up a little bit of rapport ahead of time. Always start 5 minutes late. Now, this is quite important because people get very discouraged when they do a webinar because nobody gets there on time, basically. Very, very few people. So be prepared for that. Obviously, read out some announcements, some housekeeping stuff, etc. But try not to start the actual content till 5 minutes into the actual event itself to allow for stragglers, who are basically most people. So anyway. Another good tip is and this is somewhat self-serving, so bear with me, but use a professional MC. If you use somebody to introduce your program for you, it not only breaks up the program, it stops it from becoming a monologue. It gives credibility and class to the talk. It can make the talk more relaxing and actually enjoyable for the audience. And it also makes you as the speaker seem more important. It enables the speaker to continue also if there is a problem while the MC solves it. And also the MC can relay and filter questions or comments as you progress through the webinar. Now, closing, don't shortchange this. Take at least 10 minutes and very clearly explain your offering. Make it an offer they can't refuse. Offer installments if you possibly can. Make it as affordable and tolerable as possible. Painless, that's the word I was looking for. Make it as painless as possible. And you have to make the offer time sensitive. And don't ride the back bus. Don't go back on your offer once you've made it. The offer has to be final and it has to be non-negotiable. A limited no-risk offer will get you much more in the way of sales. And obviously, very, very important, don't forget to set up a payment link. You want to get paid. Many ways you can do this. Easiest way really is PayPal, frankly, but there's different ways you can do it. I showed you the small flyer earlier on, and you can incorporate a payment link into that flyer as well and link it up to your your credit card provider. Now, can you do all of this stuff yourself? Well, of course you can, but as you can see, it's a lot of work, and my team can do it fast and effectively, freeing up your time so that you can do something more productive. So basically, here is the deal. As I said, I'll keep this pretty short and sweet, but I set up many webinars for different companies, different people. As you probably know, I've worked with various speakers over the years, including Tony Robbins, Tom Hopkins, Les Brown, Brian Tracy, etc. So I have the experience. I've done hundreds, maybe even thousands of webinars over the years, know what works and what doesn't. And I'll take this all off of your shoulders and set it up for you for a very small fee. You'll be surprised how small it is. And what I would do is I'll set up webinars on Zoom and an event page itself on LinkedIn and coordinate them using my platforms, unless you want to do it another way. I will send out 1,000 direct messages to my first degree connections to promote the event. I'll also post on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, and even Twitter daily for 2 weeks leading up to the webinar itself. And I will transfer registrations to Zoom from LinkedIn whenever necessary. I'll also send out webinar reminders from Zoom itself. And for those of you that worked with me before, you know I'm pretty much always available for personal help and advice whenever necessary. Not only these things, but I'll also MC on the event itself. And as a lot of you probably know, I have done voiceovers and I have done adverts, etc. So I'm qualified to do that. And I'll be the MC on your event and introduce you properly, give you a good build up and field questions and comments. I'll also supply you with all of the registration details and a recording and the PowerPoint that was used. All of this for just a one-time fee of $399. Now, $200 is payable as soon as you book it to hold the booking, and $199 is due on the date of completion. Now, because of this does take some time to set up, obviously, and basically I have a team of workers that help me out with this, but basically a lot of the work is actually on me. I can restrict this only to doing 3 a week. So if you want to get on board for this, we're already booked up now till the 1st of January. So if you do want to get on board for January, for the first week or 2 of January, let me know as soon as you can and we'll set something up for you. Now, I do have extra services if required. I can create custom lead lists for you for the events and help you promote the event. And the investment for those is $100 for every 1,000 leads that are created. Flyer creation, as I alluded to earlier on, is $75, and you'll get the copy of that, and you can use it again, obviously. And also, I will send out up to 5,000 emails for you for $125. Now, obviously, because all offerings are different, and you got different pricings, etc., different audiences and industries, results can't be guaranteed. Some products and services will not be accepted for promotion. But particularly if it's something like, for example, firearms or something offensive. But I'll let you know immediately if that's the case and the assignment will not be accepted. There are no refunds on this. So basically, if you want to get started, send $200 to get started with the basic service to the link below here, which is a PayPal me link. You can just fill in the amount, $200 there, and we will get rolling virtually immediately on that. So that's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else really to add to that. So does anybody have any questions on that at all? Any questions on the format, on setting up the webinar itself? Any questions on using my services, which of course you don't have to. You can do this on your own if you follow these rules. Basically, you should have a pretty successful webinar. But it is all down to the offer, and particularly important, it is all down to the pricing as well. Make sure it is something that is the price of maybe a meal for 2 out at a decent restaurant. Don't overdo it, particularly on your first run out with this. Try and keep it to a reasonable price that most people can afford. And then you can go on to advanced programs and advanced stages with this whole thing. So, do we have any questions at all? Ran through that pretty fast. I hope I didn't go through it too fast. But questions will be taken now, if you have any. Let's give you a couple of minutes for that while I grab a quick cup of coffee here. And there's a question from Jerry. If we have the webinar to go, could I send out 5,000 emails to promote it? If you have, I mean, are you talking if you have your own leads there, Jerry? Or are you talking about would we give you, would we supply you with the leads? I mean, we do either. It's fine. I just wanted to clarify. If you wanted me to, my office to get you a lead list, we do charge for that, and you're welcome to send it out yourself. But if you have 5,000 emails to send out, yeah, just do it yourself. The reason that I tend to use thousands of emails as an example, because I use Google. What it's called now, it used to be, golly, what's it now? I can't remember. It used to be Google Plus, I think, and it's now something else. But anyway, with Google, you can send out, and I've been doing this for quite a few years now, up to 1,500. I think 1,500 is their limit per day. So you can get 5,000 out pretty easily. You can certainly do 1,000 a day for 5 days. Yeah, no problem at all. You can send them out yourself if you have a Google account. So 125 units in that maintenance for 5,000. Yeah, exactly. You got it in a nutshell, Jerry. Yeah, $125 to us, and we'll send out your leads for you. Fair enough. Yeah, that's exactly right. So, any other questions there? No, nothing else from anybody there? So it's a pretty straightforward process, basically. I said to you earlier, you can certainly do it yourself. It's really just a question of time. It's got this down to somewhat, still not perfect. Obviously, it still takes time, but somewhat of an art form. I've done this a lot, so I can do it fairly effectively and fairly quickly, quicker than most people can, just because I've done it so often, if you get my gist. So yeah, that's about it really. So if you do want to set something up, then let me know as soon as you can. Go to that PayPal link, which I will bring up on the screen again. Let's see if I can just, can you all see that there? I can even email that out to you afterwards if you like. In fact, I will do that. I'll send each of you out that link afterwards, because it's a bit long. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to call me on 888-894-2929. And my email address is garyc@eliteprospeakers.com. Now, looking at the people that are on here, you're in a mixed, you're a fairly mixed group of different industries. I don't see any on there that would make me want to turn your business away. Basically, as long as it's a sound, solid, legal, honest business offer, we're up for it. But there are certain things, obviously, that we don't want to touch, because they might offend some people, and we're not into that. So, anyway, thank you very much for all being here today. And if I could be of any help at all, let me know. And if you have any questions after the fact, give me a call and I'll be happy to answer them, and happy to chat. Just call me on the 800 number, the 888-894-2929. 2929. So thanks a lot and bye for now.